Joshua Calhoun, and you're watching WMHS News. The faculty and staff here at Mays High School uncovered the nuances of differentiated instruction, and they give their points of view about them. Let's hear what they have to say.
What do you like to see when you observe teachers' classrooms?
When I go into a classroom, I think good instruction is centered around movement in the classroom. The teacher is the facilitator. The students are actually doing the work through research in small groups. There's a lot of discussion going on. There's a lot of interaction. But the teacher is basically the facilitator. The beginning of the lesson is given through some direct instruction, where the teacher describes exactly what they want to accomplish by the end of the period. The students have a clear understanding of what the expectations are, what the assessments are going to be. And the teacher goes around and is able to now identify groups and work with those groups as it pertains to specific questions that they might have.
Okay. Question number 2. What makes an effective teacher?
I think an effective teacher is one who, number one, likes children. Number 2 is a person who's engaged and understands the content. They're able to deliver the content, and by that I mean they're able to work with the students so that they can get to the student's level or meet whichever student at that particular level and impart that information to them so that the students have a clear understanding. And now the student is able to translate back what they've learned. That person is also very professional, meaning they are dressed appropriately, they're seeking higher level knowledge, they want to be engaged. An integration of technology in the classroom where students are allowed to use technology as we see it, computers and different things of that nature, so that they can bring in different information.
Okay, number 3. What is the focus for differentiation at Mays?
Well, the focus for differentiation at Mays has been the same for the past 11 years or so, and that we see good differentiation in the classroom. That teachers assess students by pre-assessments. Before we introduce a lesson, you have a pre-test, and I'm sure all of you see exactly that going on. Then students are grouped according to their knowledge level, and then information is delivered to them according to their specific group, with the clear understanding that the assessment is going to be the same at the end. So all of the students need to have an understanding. It's just how they get to that understanding and how, the learning style of the kid, as well as how they adapt to certain situations, will help them get to that point.
Okay, thank you.
A good, effective teacher, I guess, would be someone who's passionate, somebody who cares, somebody who's willing to put their life on the line for you and to make sure you learn. And at the end of the day, they're there for you and you learn something.
What makes a good and effective teacher?
I guess it depends on the relationship they built with the student and how well the student can learn.
That's it? Okay, thank you. Teacher keys.
All right. Well, differentiation of instruction is something critical that all students need, in my opinion, to be successful. In the beginning, when the teacher first meets a student, I think it's important that they assess their students for their understanding of the concepts. Once some type of informal or formal assessment is given by the teacher, that teacher then should disaggregate that data. Once they disaggregate the data, they're going to find out the students who performed well, the students who performed average or mediocre, and the students who are struggling. Once they have that data from the students in terms of their performance level or their skill level, it's up to the teacher to then go and create assignments that are differentiated based on the particular skill level of that student. For example, if I'm the student in the class and I took that formal assessment from the teacher got those results from me and they found that I kind of exceeded the standard or the expectation, then it's that teacher's responsibility to go back and give me instruction based on me exceeding that particular skill. If I'm a student who performed below the expectation of the teacher or below the expectation for that particular standard, then I'm a student who need to get differentiated instruction based on me not meeting that particular skill on the level that the teacher expected me to meet it on. So in a nutshell, I think it's important that teachers look at their students' data, create assignments that are tailored for those students based on their particular skill level. Once that is done, then I think differentiation has taken place successfully. I also think it's important that teachers understand with differentiation of instruction, we don't want them to move beyond the particular standard. We want all students to be on the same level. We want all students to get that same content in terms of what's expected for that standard. But we want the teacher to bring that information to the students based on their need level. If I'm strong, give it to me at a higher level. If I'm average, give it to me on my level. If I'm below the expected level, then give me the information on that particular level.
I differentiate in a couple different ways. First off, there's probably like 5 or 6 different assignments at any given time. That's the primary way, is that different students are doing different things at any given time. Now, it's not every day, but most days.
You play games.
How do you determine how your students will be grouped?
Mostly I group them by academic performance. So all the students that are doing really well will get grouped together. That gets changed depending on how well they're grasping something, an individual concept. Sometimes I group them by behavior, if a student needs to be separated from somebody else, so that happens too.
How often do you differentiate?
I bet I differentiate 2 out of every 3 days, let's say.
How do you integrate technology into your differentiated lessons?
Well, I would be lost without the Promethean board, because that's how I keep up with assignments. So I have some stuff in a book and some stuff on copies and some stuff I can put on the board, so that lets me have 3 or 4 different assignments at once going on. And I use my board to keep track of who's in what group. I can move the names around from group to group and keep people in different colors, and so they know, students know what they're doing based on what color their name is or what part of the board they're on, so they can follow themselves, and I don't have to tell them every little thing.
Differentiation relates to teacher evaluation.
I think today one of our goals for Mays High School, and it seems like throughout the school, and I guess we can call that something like a school improvement plan, that is a driving force for teaching children within your classroom today, is using differentiation to help children to master the standards that we teach. And that is just a common goal across the school, our school improvement plan. That is one of the things that we're targeting, and I believe I can say safely as well as across the system, because we're always giving ideas and being observed and being professionally developed on differentiation and how to go about different ways to help the children master their standards.
What should differentiation be based on?
I think now what we base it on is purely assessment. Sometimes we probably need to go a little further than that and probably look at the social and socio-economic classification of the student. Even though we do take that into consideration, those are some of the things you might have to look at. A lot of factors comes under social economic position and status, but even though, because we are a test-oriented state system, in that we have to ensure that our students are prepared to pass certain tests before they graduate high school or before they are helping them prepare for post-secondary education. Differentiation is one of the strategies and techniques that we've chosen to do. But sometimes we need to also extend that and look at other factors such as the social economic piece.
Hello?
Okay, what is differentiation?
Differentiation.
That's what I said.
Differentiation is basically giving students work that they can do at their level, and sometimes that means that even within a class you're giving different students different tasks in order to kind of be working at their level. Because if you're giving a child that can't do a certain task, you're giving them the same thing as somebody who's at a higher level, they're never going to catch up because they're just going to give up, they're not going to understand.
Okay, how often should you differentiate your lessons?
According to school policy, it should be every day.
How does differentiation relate to teacher evaluation?
Anymore I don't know exactly how to answer that because differentiation theoretically makes it so that each teacher should be able to overall be evaluated better because their students should learn better. I'm not sure if I'm completely convinced of that, but supposedly that's what the goal of it is.
Yeah. Okay. How is differentiation different from cooperative grouping?
Cooperative differentiation is because you're grouping the students based on their ability level. Cooperative grouping, you're actually giving them various levels altogether and trying to have the students learning from each other as opposed, and maybe from a higher level student as opposed to, like I say, the differentiated groups where generally they're all the same.
So both of them have one dominant allele, and what does one parent have? Okay, so you just gotta work. So everybody over here it depends. Stop playing and work on what you're supposed to do. Okay.
You heard that. You gonna have to pick it out.
There's a button right there.
I told it to turn it out.
It is not working.
So you gotta work backwards.
So as you can see here, a lot of teachers and students have their different points of views about the differentiation styles here at the school, and a lot of them had a lot to say, and most of it was pretty good. I'm Joshua Calhoun, reporting for WMHS News.